Oh hi, thanks for watching my video. So somehow 2022 is over, and in what feels like a blink of an eye we're already in 2023. That year just flew by, didn't it? But it did make me wonder why I've never made a video before where we just look back at what happened in The Sims 4 in the previous year. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be taking a look back and touching on pretty much everything that happened in 2022. So, let's begin! Starting off with January, obviously. This was a pretty chill month where not a lot happened. We did get a new radio station called Carnival Beats in anticipation for the Carnival Street kit, but nothing groundbreaking here. Moving on to February. So, during Love Month, we got our first kit of the year, the Carnival Street kit. I'm not the biggest fan of kits in general, but I'll admit that there were some really nice outfits in this. The sequin dress has become one of my favourite CAS items. We also got a game pack, My Wedding Stories, along with a base game update that added the ability to assign Sims as fiancés in Creator Sim. We also had a few new Creator Sim items added to base game, like formal dresses and suits. Now, releasing the My Wedding Stories game pack during Valentine's month would have been a good marketing tactic. Sadly though, this pack was a huge letdown. It was littered with bugs from the get-go, and pretty much everyone who reviewed it gave negative feedback because it had so many issues. Definitely not the best start to 2022. Many Simmers are still surprised that EA chose to release an obviously broken pack. Probably the most broken pack we've had at the point of release in the first place. My Wedding Stories should have definitely been held back a month or two. In March we had 2 base game updates, but the second one didn't actually have anything new. They just had to dedicate an entire update to try and fix just some of the issues that came with the Wedding Stories pack. This is how long the list of fixes were, and the pack still isn't completely fixed. But the first update in March was more focused on expanding Neighbourhood Stories, which was initially rolled out in November 2021. Neighbourhood Stories got an update so that story progression would affect all Sims, not just Sims that are associated with your active household as it was previously. We also got a whopping 7 new scenarios added in March: Too Many Toddlers, Troublemaker, Rom-Com, Super Rich Supervillain, Extraterrestrial Researcher, Unlucky Chef, and No Skills, No Problem. The Decor to the Max kit was also released, making it the second kit of the year. I'm making a point of counting the kits because when I got to the end of the year, I was genuinely baffled by the sheer amount of kits that came out in 2022, so throughout this video I'll be keeping count. April was a pretty uneventful month. We really didn't get much. The main menu page was given a new look, but that was pretty much it. Moving on to May, pronouns were added to Creator Sim, and we had our 3rd and 4th kits of the year. We had the Little Campers kit, which was basically a collection of outdoor build and buy objects that could be used for a children's sleepover. And we had Moonlight Chic kit, which just had a few going out outfits for adult Sims. In June, we had another base game update that introduced lunar cycles in anticipation for the Werewolves pack. And there was some gameplay involved with this. For example, toddlers could say goodnight to the moon. In that same update, we got a small telescope, which was actually pretty highly requested, and a few new Creator Sim items were added as well, like a new beard and a few other clothing pieces. Following the base game update, we got the release of our second game pack of the year, the Werewolves pack. This pack was generally good from the get-go. There was fun gameplay, a new world, a new life state, and from my experience there were very few bugs or glitches, if any. I think the terrible performance of the game pack before this one probably played into the success of the Werewolves pack. I mean, like I said earlier, people were pissed off over how bad the wedding pack was, so the Sims team definitely had pressure on them this time to not release another broken pack. So yeah, Werewolves. Pretty good. In July, we had quite a big update in preparation for the High School Years pack, the only expansion pack that was released this year. The phone interface was given a fresh new look, curved walls were introduced into Build and Buy, body hair was finally available in Creator Sim, and gender in Creator Sim was made even more customizable than before, now allowing players to customize your Sim's sexual orientation. In terms of gameplay, we also had the addition of wants and fears. These were added to the game to replace whims, which by this point were incredibly outdated. So having wants and fears that were in line with the current state of the game was a welcome addition. With the fears specifically, I really like how they could happen at any time to any sim based on their lived experiences. And as I touched on earlier, we also got the High School Years expansion pack. This was honestly one of my favourite packs. I know it isn't to everyone's taste, but for me it was really fun to play through. There were a few things that could have made it better, but generally I enjoyed most of the things in this pack, mainly the gameplay. In August we got 3 new scenarios, and admittedly they were the best we've had so far. For the first time, scenarios were actually given characters and storylines. The new in town scenario centered around a pre-made sim who just moved into a town of your choice, and she's just finding her feet. To complete the scenario, you have to follow the prompts provided, which include things like meeting people, going to the gym, getting a job, and throwing a successful housewarming party. Stuck in Their Shadow was probably the most storyline-based scenario. Again, you have a pre-made sim who has a backstory and a rival that she works with, and this scenario also had prompts that would take you through the stages of her story. The gameplay was all centered around her storyline. For example, she would get phone calls that would contain information that you as the player need to know to progress. This was a great example of how all future scenarios should be. It wasn't just doing things that you could do with any other sim, it was an actual storyline, and I really hope we get more scenarios like this in the future. Parenting predicaments did also have pre-made sims, but this was such a boring scenario for me. It was literally just make dinner, get an A in school, complete childhood aspiration, complete teen aspiration. This scenario didn't have anything new, it was just tedious. It just felt really lazy. Like, what's the point of this scenario if it's just going to tell you to complete aspirations? That's my opinion, anyway. Less of these, please. September was fairly uneventful in terms of base game updates. We just had a few bug fixes, but nothing new. On September 1st, we had our 5th kit, the first Fits kit, and a couple of weeks later, we got kit number 6, Desert Luxe kit. And quite a lot of things happened in October. On the 18th, The Sims 4 was made free to play for everyone, and so naturally, the week before the price tag was removed, we got a base game update targeted towards new players. We had the addition of Emily, your virtual guide to The Sims 4, offering tutorials on everything a new player needs to know, and the lesson pages also got updated to reflect the most accurate information. We got 5 new tattoos and the loyal trait added in Creator Sim. The Sims YouTube channel also streamed the Behind the Sims Summit, which was an over-the-top, overhyped way of giving us a few updates. In terms of The Sims 4, we got a sneak peek of a few upcoming packs, along with a sneak peek of a new life stage, which we now know are called Infants, which are expected to be released this year. It was also announced that the Sims team were partnering with mod and CC creators to try and centralise the download locations to Overwolf. And probably the most exciting announcement in this stream was the confirmation and preview of Project Renee, the early production version of what will eventually become The Sims 5. This was particularly exciting because up until this point, the Sims team never actually confirmed that The Sims 5 was even coming. So this was pretty big news. And not a lot of things happened in November in terms of updates. The profanity filter on the gallery got an update, which is pretty funny, but that's pretty much it. On the 10th of November, we got 2 more kits, Everyday Clutter and Pastel Pop, making it a grand total of 8 kits in 2022. December was another quiet month. Aside from a small delivery with minor fixes, we didn't really get much in terms of content. Based on the announcements in the Behind the Sims Summit, it does make me think that it's only been quiet lately because they've been gearing up for the big Infants update. Whilst we don't have an expected date for them, I would be inclined to believe that they will come either this month or February. They did say it would be in the early part of this year, so I would expect to see them in the first quarter at least. And that is pretty much everything that happened in The Sims 4 in 2022. Very little in terms of game and expansion packs, pretty busy in terms of base game updates, and an overwhelmingly large amount of kits were released. What do you hope to see in 2023? I would love to know in the comments. Do you think The Sims 5 will be released later in the year, or do you think it will still be a few years yet? Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, you know I love it when you do that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.